I want to prove that right wingers are no better than feminists. So we had a right winger in the promo collective, and he was spazzing out, and he wanted to pedo smear Biden, right? And because we didn't want Biden pedo smeared, just because he was clingy to some children as a politician, in the same way old grannies and old women do, just because he was doing that, he felt free to pedo smear him, this right winger in our group. So he got banned and booted out. And we got accused of being a Biden supporter just because we weren't allowing him to be pedo smeared. Okay. When it comes to false accusations, I'm apolitical or non-partisan. So when Trump was getting smeared as a rapist, I called bullshit and said he wasn't a rapist. If Biden's getting pedo smeared and there's no proof, I'm calling bullshit, right? Accusing men of being rapists or pedophiles without proof is one of the core misinterest tactics used by man haters, and I've got a zero tolerance approach for it. Now, here's another example of a right winger called Senovich. If you're a man who keeps it together and is involved with your children in meaningful ways, i.e., you're more than a paycheck, most wives will dote on you. They will be obsessed. A lot of men want a mummy and a maid they have sex with. That's not marriage, though. So let's break this down because there's quite a lot to break down in this short little tweet. This guy has a right wing substack. He's just a typical Trump supporter. Okay. So I'm going to break his tweet down and then I'm going to psychoanalyze him and explain his psychology, right, and his mindset, and explain why this guy is gutter trash. And if he ever comes to the men's rights movement or he comes to people begging for sympathy when he gets divorce raped, offer him nothing. Give him nothing. This guy, people like this should be dead to us, quite frankly. They don't exist, okay? Especially when it comes to compassion and sympathy and concern, okay? If you're a man who keeps it together, leads, and is involved with your children in a meaningful way. So, first of all, if you're a man who keeps it together, that's the most truthful thing he will say in this tweet. If you're a man who keeps it together, i.e., keep your status. So, what do they mean by keeping it together, right? What, do you keep it together in like a monk? You're being a monk, like keeping it together. Give up all worldly possessions. Have zen. Be stable. Be content. Have good karma. Be spiritual. Or blah blah blah. You give up on your desires. You're a peace of mind. No, it doesn't mean that because the woman's not going to be married to a guy like that, right? A monk who doesn't work, who's humble, right? Has spiritual enlightenment. That sort of keep it together. No, let's be real here. Keep it together is code with status. Have your status. Keep your status rolling, right? Gain the status. Okay, if you're a man who keeps it together, leads. Okay, leads. I'll explain this again. I'll explain this again. I've explained this before, and I'll have to explain this in the future, and I'll have to just keep on doing this because right wingers seem to be mentally defective when it comes to basic cause and effect and observations of reality. Okay, if someone came up to me and says Jupiter is yellow, pink, and green, it's made of cheese and moves faster at the speed of light, and is colonized by aliens, and they did 9/11, and blah blah blah. I'm a teapot and I wear a pink dress and I fly. I'm a fairy and I like unicorns. And this lake's made of lemonade. So let's say someone started ranting like that, right? That's the level of understanding a person has when they claim that men lead relationships, right? The ego defense and delusion in these men is so fucking strong. It's like when you're waking up from this nonsense, I always knew it was nonsense, but when you're waking up from it completely, right, you know what gibberish it is. It's fucking gibberish. Like a slave who picks cotton for his master and is getting whipped is not leading. A peasant who tills the fields for his feudal overlords is not leading. A slave is not leading. A man who earns a relationship by getting status and working while the woman works less or not at all, right, for a validation and acceptance, he is not leading. He's not leading, right? Like, let's say you're a general, right? You're a general, you send soldiers off to die, they take the risks, you take less risks, right? That's how it normally works in most cases, right? Leaders, real leaders, send subordinates to take the risks. So the wife is the leader, the husband is the subordinate. He takes on all the burdens, he takes on all the pressure, right? He takes on all the risks. And if it doesn't work out, he just gets divorced and discarded. Okay? And is involved with your children in meaningful ways, i.e., you're more than a paycheck. So basically, women enforce the provider gender role on men, okay? And when they conform to that gender role, the woman gaslights and attacks him and complains about him not working enough, okay? And it's done for two reasons. It's done due to female social dominance, sadism, okay, right? And two, it's done to confuse the man because the woman is actually at war with the man. Relationships is a one-sided war. That's an analogy, okay? So the woman's going to attack him and invalidate him and emotionally starve him, right? Okay, to keep him in a learned state of helplessness, okay? And he'll never, she hopes he'll never figure out who the exploiter and abuser is, and he's the victim. She hopes he'll never figure it out. So she'll gaslight him and say, "You're taking advantage of me, you're not doing enough, you're the abuser, you're the exploiter." It's pure gaslighting and hostility. Sadism, but it's also misinformation. Like two states at war. But there's one state at war with the other state, basically. Like the men are the punching bags, they're not at war with anything. Most wise, if you're more than if you're involved with your children in meaningful ways, i.e., you're more than a paycheck, i.e., you're more than a paycheck. So, involve your children in meaningful ways, i.e., you're more than a paycheck. This is vague, nebulous, arbitrary. So the woman gets to decide when it's not good enough. Okay, so women don't communicate clearly, and they make up arbitrary rules that you break. Okay, you're more than a paycheck. So women demand men get status and be a paycheck, be a ATM machine, but they've got to be more than that in some vague, arbitrary way. All right, and let's be real here. Women don't give a fuck if men have relationships with their kids. Right? They don't give a fuck about the kids, and they don't give a fuck about the man because especially women who parentally alienate. They parentally alienate. They're not too concerned about the man's relationship with the kids, are they? Right? And you can't say it's because the man is abusive because statistically women abuse kids more than the men. So on the statistics alone, that can't be true. Okay? So women try and alienate men from their children, but they want them to be more involved. Okay, it's just gaslighting, and this right winger is using feminist style emotional abuse. Most wives will dote on you; they will be obsessed. A lot of men want a mummy or a maid to have sex with. That's not marriage, though. So a lot of men want a mummy. So men want affection and intimacy and validation in a relationship, which is completely acceptable. That's the minimum they should be getting from a relationship. If the woman's not prepared to give that, she should be in a relationship. Period. Because I think it's relationship rape. Actually, they may sound like an extreme term, but the man is getting raped emotionally if he's not getting anything in return. If he's getting emotionally starved, the woman is just raping him with resources and exploiting him and emotionally abusing him, basically, out of sadism. Or a mate they have sex with. So, but i.e., the woman's allowed to cut off sex at any time, right? And I actually agree that they're allowed to cut off sex at any time because you're allowed to cut off sex for any reason. But she should be in a relationship with the man in the first place if she doesn't want to have sex with him. But women, when they break up a relationship and they go, "Oh, I wasn't getting enough sex, he couldn't perform," completely valid reason in the eyes of society, completely acceptable because it's her prerogative, her way, female supremacy, female prerogative, the female imperative, her choice, her demands, her wants, and her needs do not get met, she can end a relationship. Men can't do that, right? Because it's actually illegal for a man to put pressure for sex in a relationship. He can go to jail. And also, he can't do it even before that because you'll just get divorced anyway, right? And divorce raped. That's not marriage, though. So, what marriage to him is a man who provides, shut up, and keeps it together, i.e., keeps it together. So, this is a garbage, slime human being. So, let's have a look. He's got kids, right? He's got an attractive wife. Um, he's not particularly attractive. He's just an average, everyday, middle-aged guy with grey hair, right? Not repulsive, but not a Chad either. Just average. He's just average. He looks like he's in his late 50s. Okay, he's got beautiful young children. He's got 3 of them. Okay, and so he's got this hostile mindset, hyper agency. He's blaming the men. Right? They've got bad expectations. They're not doing enough in a vague, nebulous way, right? They're not doing enough because whatever the woman demands she should get, even if she's not clear on it, because he can do this in his head because he's getting everything he wants right now, right? Everything's going his way. He's getting validated. He's got the attractive woman who's like 15 years younger than him, right? Got the attractive woman who's younger than him, and it can and it even though it can backfire on him, he's too delusional to realize this, right? He's too delusional to realize this. He's egotistical, right? So when it goes bad for other men, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit because he's an anti-male, right? So he's going to justify it and rationalize it, and he's going to rationalize the female imperative, right? Okay, so basically, for example, if a woman dumped a man because he was fat and not keeping fit, he'll say, "Oh, he's a slob. He doesn't take care of himself. She's got every right to dump him." Right? But if the woman turned around and says, "Oh, he's working out all the time and he's not paying attention to me enough," he'll go, "Oh, she's got every right to dump him because he's vain. And he's in the gym all the time working out." He can't win. You can't win, right? It's not like they're laying out outrageous expectations that are really hard to meet. They're laying out vague, nebulous expectations, and they'll just move the goalposts on you every single time. So this guy's got feminine thinking, in other words, right? And is it even feminine thinking, or is it typical male hostile lizard brain thinking, hyper agency, blame the man, right? Okay, so here's a comment from a gaslighter. Like this woman's backing him up, this Republican woman. Okay, and I really hate nationalists now, by the way. Be present, take interest in the kids and their passions. Your wife will be obsessed. The wife doesn't give a fuck. The wife doesn't give a fuck. Like when the wife divorces a man and the kid's going, "Oh, I miss my daddy. Why can't I see my daddy? I want to see daddy. I want to see daddy. I miss daddy." Like when he's getting alienated. Do you think the wife gives a shit? Do you think she cares? No, she doesn't. You'll not have to want for anything. Okay, that's just a lie. Like men bring more into relationships than men. Okay, so yeah, I think I've broken down this guy's mindset. He's garbage. He's a subhuman, right? And I hope he gets divorce rapes, gets divorce raped very hard, and that, and I hope it brings him to the edge of despair. And yeah, I'm a sadist sometimes. Like, if you're hostile against me as a man and you're hostile against the male sex, I don't really care about you anymore, right? I actually take Schadenfreude in your bad fate. Okay, over and out, Senovich.